How y'all doing out there? Man, listen. Today is a very interesting day, and the times we're living in are even more interesting. We have technology that's supposed to assist us, right? It's supposed to allow us advancement. One of the things that we do as humans, and really it's not our fault that we do it, is we take things for granted. We take our loved ones for granted. We take our life for granted. We take it for granted that we're going to be here forever, right? That when we're young, we're invincible. Um, the issue is we need to stop taking stuff for granted. And we need to investigate what is in front of our faces. This morning, I kind of sort of had something pop into my head. And it's funny because I took it for granted, right? All these years. Now, all through grade school, all through middle school, all through high school, all through college, we take courses, we take training, and they train us in what they want us to know, right? We don't go to school and say, oh, I want to study A, B, and C. Well, we can say that because in college we choose our majors and we decide we're going to study something to become something in life. We go to medical school to become doctors. We go to business schools to become business owners or businessmen, women. Uh, we go to engineering school to be engineers. But going to these places and making these selections does not allow us to say, I'm going to be a petroleum engineer, so I'm going to study petroleum. Right then and there, we have to take what? Reading, writing, arithmetic, geography, geology, right? Geothermics, whatever it is that you study as a petroleum engineer. And I bring that one up because my mom told me you need to go to school and become a petroleum engineer because that's where life's going to be. And guess what? This thing harder than a cinder block, and I didn't listen. So, but look, um, we're taught what they want us to us to learn, and in that teaching, once you get out of these schools and once you move on and life prevails, you kind of sort of start thinking about things that make you go, what? So this morning, I'm sitting and thinking, I said, we have all these satellites supposedly revolving around the Earth. We have all of these nuclear powered submarines that are down in the ocean, right? With radio telemetry that shoots radio waves through the water, through the atmosphere, through the vacuum of space to an antenna that comes back down to give locations of whomever, whatever, wherever. Right? Isn't that what they do? I mean, I never served in the military and I don't have any security clearances. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. Right? I'm not privy to that information, but some mising, I would say that's what they're doing. Because why else would they be in the polar ice caps, in the Indian Ocean, in the Baltic Straits, and wherever the hell else they are, in the South Pacific? Why would they have Air Force bases, Army bases, and whatnot all over, strategically placed all over the world, if they're not trying to generate and receive information? And that gets me thinking, right? It's got me thinking. What are they doing with all this information? For real, what are they doing with all this information? They're not making the world a better place. They're making it a more fearful place. And that's the thought processes of those individuals that are in power, that you and I put in power. So I'm thinking, war has been on the tip of everybody's tongue for eons. We'll go into that book that y'all call the Holy Bible. I call it a placemat, but anyway. Or novelty items, whatever you want to call it, whatever I call it, that's what I call it. What you call it is what you call it, but what I call it is what I call it. You can't take my mind and tell me that I can't think of that. That's ancient, antiquated thought. To think that you can take somebody's thoughts away just by whatever. And so, and talking about that, the psychiatric medicine to take people's thoughts away. Y'all out of your damn mind thinking that's going to take somebody's thoughts away. What that does is it creates triggers that says if you think about that, then you receive that pain. That's all. But that's how the mind is. But anyway, I'm branching off, digressing, and I don't want to do that because what I'm looking to do, man, something's in my eye. Have y'all ever had an eye bother you? Maybe an eyelash? It's the weirdest thing. Dust particle get in there and whatever. So the thing is, ancient technologies, before the advent of the modern day computer, the light bulb, all of that. But these things that they taught us, right? It was partly true, but it wasn't true. It was what they call propagandization. They didn't want to call it that. They wanted to take it the propaganda, the goddamn nation, right? The I said the word propagandization. They took that word and they reconstructed it and called it ed for edit you, right? Causation. They want you to be edited for their cause. Don't ask me how that came about. That's just downloaded information from wherever. I don't know. But, it's interesting how all this stuff just flows and comes about. I don't know why my brain works the way it does. Do you know why your brain works the way it does? So when we can find that out, we can figure that out, we'll have some answers to the world question or the answers to the age-old question of who am I? What am I? Why am I? I already know where I am and what century I'm in. But anyway, that's another construct by man because the advent of the calendar, right? So I came across this webpage that talked about ancient technologies, right? You would say the most ancient technology that helped man out is the wheel. That's number one. And they list number one is the wheel. Period of 4000 BC, Mesopotamia, where they want to bring 100 pounds 3 miles. Now you try to carry 100 pounds 100 yards, that thing's gonna get heavy. I don't care how strong you are, because the heart's beating, the blood's pumping, the lactic acid is building in your muscles starting to fatigue. You know how it is. But look, and what did I just say? Ancient technology came about in 4000 BC by the Greco-Roman calendar, created by several civilizations, they say. And guess when the period of time was started or kept record thereof? 8,000 BC, British Columbia time. Ah! All right. So the invention of the calendar was a method of timekeeping, right? And the calendars are likely even on odd days. They might be older than writing itself. And quite frankly, it is. Because time is older than man. And time is a construct of the universe. They would say that it's a construct of man and the way man, but no. Man didn't create light and dark, dark and light, day and night, night and day, the four seasons. Well, wait a minute. The Four Seasons. Wasn't that a musical group? But anyway, getting back on track, the calendar in the Middle East and Greece in the lunar calendar, right? They started tracking the number of moons, and that's a lie. The reason why it's a lie, it didn't start in the Middle East. Well, wait a minute. If there's the Far East, and then there's the Northeast, where's Southeast? DC? No. So if there's the Middle East, okay. In the Middle East, why would they even call it the Middle East? Some of these things, man. So in the Middle East and in Greece, the lunar calendar was used to track the time of the month. Well, hell, anybody out there married? You can track the time of the month by your... Stop it. Okay, so anyway, they want to give credit to the Pope. Come on. The Pope didn't keep track of nothing but his money. Well, let me stop. But the truth is the truth, y'all. Come on. He wanted to keep track of his money and his country that he finagled the king to give him. How did he do that? Because before Christianity, before the Pope was the Pope, what he did was he was an astrologer. He was an alchemist. He was a individual that the Catholic Church and the Christian Church that you people decided you want to be part of, right? Denounce, calls satanic, calls anti-Christian. To study the stars and look at the stars, you're dealing in things that you have no knowledge of. And because you have no knowledge of them, that comes from where? The demonic forces. And it's not the demonic forces, y'all. It's not the demonic forces. It's man who creates these evil ways of being. He puts labels on it. Remember, the book says you name everything and you control it, right? Those are look, that's your studies, not mine. Not mine at all. So the calendar was 8,000 years ago. It was a way of keeping time, keeping track of the moon. But look, the Native Americans, right, that they call the Native Americans, the indigenous people of the North Country, they kept time by the night and day. They said the night, the day, and the night is one track of the lunar cycle. Because each night between the full darkness and the full darkness in the sky, right? The full darkness meaning no moon to reflect the light of the sun, is a degree that the moon comes into perspective. And as it travels from full darkness to full face, is 14 days. Then from the 14th day to the 28th day cycle, it starts to lose its power. But guess what, folks? The power isn't in the light. The power's in the dark. That's why I said What's done in the dark will come to light. Ain't no light up in there. Shit, light goes in, but it's in full darkness. A baby's in full darkness. When you grow bacteria, when you grow fungus, it's done in darkness. It doesn't necessarily have to be light. They tell you to take the controlled substance, not control as in they control it, but the controlled substance that you're growing, and you place it in the dark. And you leave it there. And as you leave it there, what happens? It draws energy from within itself and its ambient surroundings. The ambient energy, the surrounding energy. So, you got the calendar. Then you have the compass. But see, these things are put together by man, right? To try to control the elements of the universe. See, it says what? They are building a ladder. And if they keep building this ladder, they will reach the heights of God. But then they say, the knowledge from the tree of good and evil creates man to be God, if he so chooses to eat from that. But see, the thing about it is, you can't be mad or angry when you come to your prayer, because anger doesn't do anything but block. Remember that. So then you have the compass. The compass is utilized to track true north. How do they say? Opposites attract, right? Opposite polarity. You take a magnet and you put it together, north to north, south to south, and they repel. That's why when you do like this and you do like that, it's your energy, it's your balance, so that you'll feel the magnetic push, because that and that are the same polarity. But when you do like this, you start feeling that energy coming in, because that and this, right? This is the light, this is the dark. Inside here is darkness. So the darkness is what man controls and coins as negative, but it's not negative, it's positive. When you look at a battery, you got a positive pole and a negative pole. I used to think, because I was taught in my propagandization, that the power comes from the positive side, not the negative. But when you look at the diagram, you look at it, you tell me. So then we go on, and you have this thing that they created, they called number 4 in this lineup, the anti-Cytheria mechanism. Anti-Cytheria mechanism. ANTI against Chi, KY, theoria, theorem, thought, theories, mechanism. What that was created was 87 BC. There we go again, the British Columbia year, 87. Country of origin, Greece. Now, folks, look. All the while in the propagandization or the education of the mind, we thought that the Greeks were light-skinned, Europeanized, and what they call the Caucasians. When in actuality, the Greeks were darker than me, darker than I, Matter of fact, I don't have it. Matter of fact, there was an individual who was, anyway, he was black man. He was the, leader of the Greeks. Black, 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 right? Don't tell nobody. Don't tell anybody because you'll create a storm. And we don't want a storm created. Okay, so this anti-Cytherea mechanism created in 87 BC, the earliest example of a what? An analog computer. Well, that again, right there is another lie. It's just that this is a slanted version of what things are. You see this around my neck? You got 8 pods, right? Some of you will know what this is, but this is the representation of the most ancient and most accurate computer besides the brain. But this is an analog computer, right? Example of an analog computer that was more than 2,000 years old. Where have you heard 2,000 before? All your life, 2,000 years, 2,000. Well, remember, 2,150 years makes an age, right? An eon. This Greek invention was used to determine dates of various events that will occur. It's fortune telling. It will occur 7 years into the future. "30 gears to track the astrological," the what? The astrological movements around a specific event, particularly the Olympic Games. Yo, folks, Greco-Roman influentation. Rome said, what? Do not utilize those individuals that seek the future, that are stargazers, that are prophets. But they don't want you to do it, but they're going to do it. They do it all the time. Remember, I said that the Pope, before he was the Pope, was a stargazer, a fortune teller. Because when the king would go to war, specific event, the king would go to war. They planned a war around the stars. They said, if the stars align, go to war, king, because when you go to war, when the stars align, you're going to be victorious. And by you being victorious, all off of my back, well, not off my back, but out of my mind. No, I'm not out of my mind, but out of the thoughts of my mind, out of my work of looking at the stars, laying out plotting the courses, utilizing the compass, right? Utilizing the compass. Because I had to give you the direction from the magnetic poles of the earth, that the magnetic poles, the polarity, calls to tell you which direction to go on the calendar date, utilizing your movement of the wheel. See how all this is tying in? Okay. So the anti-Cytherea mechanism tells the future several years in advance over a specific event. Particularly, they say, the Olympic Games. This kind of engineering was complex. 100 years after the invention of the anti-Cytherea mechanism, the information was withheld. It was secret for 100 years. How did they know that? How did they know that certain things would take place? And then they kept record. 3,000 years BC. The paper created in Africa, folks. Africa. Africa created the paper. Your writing, your calligraphications, your artistic flair. All that. This. And we, the people, right? All that flavor in writing. 3,000 years BC, created by an African in Egypt or Kemet. Right? Now look. As Bernie Mac would say, look at this. Look at it. Whatever, how. You know what I'm talking about. Paper was created from papyrus, or the papyrus plant, or the papyrus plant, right? They took this and they took the strips and they laid it out. They wove it together. They laid it out. And then they took whatever writing utensil, whatever ink that they used, and they put it on there. And this stuff lasted for years. And you're still using paper today. And you won't give the chemists or the chemistry people stop it. Buildings were built from stone and wood. Sidewalks were dirt, cobblestone. Then they created in Rome by the black generals, right? 3,000 years BC, along with the paper, concreter. Concrete. They built those pillars, right? Doric, I used to know them, the five of them, the 5 pillars. But when you don't stay focused on certain information, the mind has a way of deleting information to be able to open up and store for more information. It's back here somewhere. It's just that I'm not focused on it. The Doric, the Roman, the Corinth, those things. If I work at it long enough, I'll get all 5 of them. But I'm not going to do that because I don't have time for that. What I have time for is bringing forth the information. In 59 stairs, right? I'm healing our communities one stair at a time, because you have to master one stair. There we go. To get to the next stair. Because if you try to jump stairs, you can either break your leg, break your neck, or miss information. And we don't want any of that. So, water and broken stone, pulverized stone, brought together, right, with sand and different things, and they use it to build things. That's concrete. Today, they have a recipe for concrete, and then to hold it steady, they put metal rods, iron rods, they call it rebar, in for bigger projects. More timekeeping pieces. 2,000 years BC, right? In the summer, right? Oh, that's the country of origin. Sumer. I think that's Africa. Sumerian Empire? Okay, anyway. They created the clock. But these things we all take for granted. That's what I was telling you. We take these things for granted. We don't understand that they've been here, right? They don't understand that they will be here. Some of these things will be here when we're gone. Look at this thing. 8,000 BC? When were you born? AD, right? AD, alternate dimensions. I tell you, man, things just come. So many of us, for a world without sense of time, right? Because some of us are walking around here. What time is it? What time is it? Right? And some of us don't even ask what time it is. We're just in existence. The Sumerians. Did I say Sumerians? It says it right there, black and white. The Sumerians. They're not in Europe. They're not in the North Country. They're not in South America. They're in Africa. Before the mechanism clock, they utilized a point or a slab on something, right? Circular, and the shadow fell, and that's how they kept track of the sun. They thought they were dialing in the sun, but the sun was actually dialing their men. Be careful of the words you use. So they noticed that every degree took 60 seconds, right? 60 seconds. So that 60 seconds turned into a minute, right? So the Sumerians, 2000 BC, invented the 60-minute, 60-second system that we use today in our clocks. Early clocks tracked the movement of the sun, get this, or water, roughly to tell time. The water, the waves. Somebody was counting the number of times the waves hit the shore and how high up the waves came and how far out from the shore it drifted. That's called tidal movement, utilized by the moon. The moon. However, you know how the ocean sounds. And if you don't, maybe what I'll do is put a sound bite in of the ocean. Dig, if you will, the ocean. Oh, that's the wrong song. Okay, so it's powered by water, right? Here, let's see. Early clocks track the movement of the sun or water roughly to tell time. We know that or as the hourglass, time sticks, and candle clocks. Then the mechanical clock. It was powered by water and had an escapement mechanism that rotated the gears. There we go again, the gears. Back here, the anti-Kytheric mechanism had over 30 gears, didn't it? It utilized over 30 gears. Wheels, right? The first on the list in Mesopotamia. And then the rotating clock. We had writing, right? We had writing on paper 3,000 years BC. Then we have the advent of the printing press. They say it's in Germany. Well, I don't think so. But with a little bit more investigation, I'll be able to give you better pinpointed accuracy. Because the printing press was a mechanism or mechanical way of printing up multiple prints of the same media. And they say this came about 1436 AC. Atlantic City? Or did they mean AD? And those of you that speak those words know AD, BC, EFG, HIJ. There were traces of wood blocks printing as early as the 9th century in China. The Korean bookmaker used movable metal type around 100 years before the Gutenberg press was unveiled. So it wasn't the Germans, it wasn't Johannes Gutenberg who designed or invented the printing press. It says here, 100 years before that, in 9th century China, China was doing it. Let's have the truth. Here we go. War. Explain Greek fire, right? Greek fire was an invention that was used in battles at sea. Man, look. There's this thing called the Lycurgus Cup. 200 years AD by the Roman Empire. It was a ball-shaped something on two things that held it like spindles, and water evaporated in a kennel, right, underneath. And what it did, nanotechnology, right? The chalice appears to change colors depending on the direction of the light that hit it, ranging from jade green to blood red. It appears that the chalice contains ground gold particles and made mind-blowing precision that counts baffled scientists to this day. What that was, nobody knows. Who really cares? Unless it has something to do with creating distillation. A 1,000 years BC in Iraq, another African country, there was a thing called the Nimrod lens. Galileo inserted where does it say here? Galileo asserted it probable that the ancients used telescopes to discover this 3,000-year-old lens it provides, made of rock crystal. Now listen, rock crystal glass, no, that's rock, paper, scissors. But anyway, the Nimrod lens could have been used to magnify glass, but scientists firmly believe it could be part of an ancient telescope. To me, it looks like selenite. And if selenite is polished, does it really open up to become magnified? I don't know, because it looks like it has looks like this, and this is how the selenite grows in cells, right? So if you look at it this way, like fiber optics, does it open up light? I'm not sure. Then you have, man, listen. They got so many different things here. But one of the things that I want you to know is that nothing's new under the sun. But what we have is we have propagandization, teaching. Because they said what? They said that electricity was created, right? Oh, man. Let me see. They said electricity was created, but that's not true. It was discovered. It was discovered as being what happens in nature. and utilizing and being able to bring that electricity, the mechanism that they utilized, such as friction, to create a positive and a negative charge, and then being able to allow that positive and negative charge to either be held or dissipated, right? Or discharged. That discharge of the electricity is a static discharge. You know, when you walk across the carpet and you create a charge within yourself, your body capacitates the energy or holds the energy. And then when you touch, right, that's the discharge, right? And the releasing of that capacitance. So between the object that you touch and the air, there's a resistance. The resistance of keeping the electricity from moving. Then you have a one-way discharge through something called diactic or a diode, right? And you can, it's a triangular shaped little thing. When you do it electronics, you'll see some of them have a clear end and something, a solid end, and whichever way the diode, the electricity charges through the diode, that's the direction of the flow, right? Or gives it the resistance of the flow. The diode creates it's a gate. So when you touch something and you release that discharge, that's the static discharge or the electrical discharge. And you had two ways of doing this because everything's in cycles, right? Cycles. 360, 720, that's another class. But the discharge is a direct discharge. But we have alternating current because everything is harmonic. It moves in waves, up and down. And that's where the oscilloscope comes in and all these other things to measure, right? To measure energy or information, because it's nothing but energy, vibration, frequency. So when you sit down and you think like I did today, what did they do early on before the satellites? How did they see the Earth's surface? That's what really got me on this track. How did they get to this Earth's surface? To see the shape, not only of the Earth, but the shape of the countries, the continental divides, the Pangea to Super Divide, to how Spain looks against North America, how Africa, I can't even get on the screen, how Africa looks to the United States, and how Africa looks to China, and how Africa looks to Europe, right? Africa being the biggest continental landmass on the face of the planet. If you look at the old maps, this is Africa, and that's America, right? That's Africa, that's America. Well, guess what, folks? This is Africa, right? This is Africa. Beautiful skin, beautiful shades, beautiful. This is Africa. Just America. Just America. Just America. That's Spain. That's Italy. No, that's Italy. And that's Rome. Now, how in the world did you let that little tiny country right there, that little tiny country right there, be the shot caller? How did that become the shot caller? If somebody knows, you know. And if somebody wants to put it in their comments, then you know. All right, folks. I really do appreciate your time. I've been here almost an hour. Gave you some good information today. I would like for you to tune in to Anchor.fm 59 Stairs, where you'll hear a lot about the mental unraveling, the communication on life, on healing our communities one stair at a time. Check me out on Instagram, 59 Stairs. Check me out on Facebook at 59 Stairs. Always check out my man Mudubaki, Dooley, Hank with Magnus, Crystals, and Pyramids. I give a good shout out to those healers in our communities, because without us, our communities will fall or have fallen. Now we're waking up and becoming that which is necessary for the betterment of the lifestyles of our people. And I'm not talking about the color of our skin, but as Dr. Martin Luther King said, the content of our character. In my spiritual practice, we talk about Iwa Pele, which is good character. And we have to work towards that because we were born with it, but our outside influences created the negative responses to the stimuli, and then it caused us to become hurt, rebellious, and sometimes destructive. And that's why you see people coming together in certain ways to be better and seeking individuals to assist them in being better. Transformational programs are out there. Be on the lookout for 2023. We're going to be doing a mid-Atlantic summit for entheogens, education, vendors, and other good fun things. Okay? Somewhere in the near future, I'll be having 59 Stairs paraphernalia. We're going to be bringing about more on the criminalizing nature. And folks, remember, here in Maryland, we just passed question 4 on the ballot, which says to allow adults 21 years and older to be able to utilize cannabis, right? Unmolested. That means you would be able to grow our own as a private individuals. And I think it's going to be 2 plants per person, right? Which would be a beautiful thing, because if there's 4 adults in the house. Anyway, this is your brother and friend, always. So you can look for me on these various platforms that I spoke about.